Today we're going to dig into a huge idea, leadership. But we're going to completely flip the script on the story most of us have been taught. You know, the one where leadership starts with a fancy title, a big promotion, or someone important tapping you on the shoulder. What if that's all backward?
This right here. This gets to the absolute heart of it. It reframes leadership not as something you're given, but as something you are. It's a fundamental shift in how you see yourself. It's not about the position you hold. It's about how you operate every single day.
But if that's true, why do so many of us just wait? Well, it all comes down to what our source material calls the leadership lie. This really common but totally flawed belief that you need formal authority before you can actually make a difference.
And you can see the two mindsets laid out so clearly here. On one side, you have that passive, permission-based thinking we're all kind of taught to follow. You know, wait for the title, stay in your lane. But on the other side, that's the truth of real leadership. It's active. It's about deciding to put the ball in play yourself, instead of waiting for the game to start.
So if leadership isn't about getting a title, how do you get it? Well, here's the secret. You don't get it, you earn it. Recognition, the title, all of that. It's just a side effect of your actions. It's not the ticket you need to get started.
I mean, think about the leaders you really truly admire. Did they just flip a switch the day they got their new title? No way. They were already doing these things. They were the ones taking ownership when things went wrong instead of blaming someone else. They were having the tough conversation when it would have been way easier to stay quiet. These are the small, consistent moves that build real influence.
And this shows you exactly how it works in the real world. See, it all starts with you. It starts with your values and your decision to take responsibility. From there, you start to build trust and real influence. And then, and only then, does the formal recognition, the title, show up. It's the effect, not the cause.
Okay, so if we don't need permission from our boss, whose permission do we need? This is usually the hardest part, honestly. We need permission from ourselves. The biggest things holding us back are almost always in our own heads.
Let's just be real for a second. When you see a problem that you know you could help with, or you have an idea that could make a difference, what's that little voice in your head saying that makes you hesitate?
If any of these sound familiar, trust me, you are not alone. That fear of overstepping, of being judged by your peers, of what happens if you get it wrong. These are powerful anxieties that keep so many smart, capable people sitting on the sidelines, just waiting for a green light that might never come.
But here's the twist, and this is so important to get. It's a paradox. We think we need to feel confident before we can step up and lead, but our source argues it's the complete opposite. You don't wait for confidence to find you. You build it. Brick by taking small, tangible acts of leadership. The action is the cure for the fear. Okay, so let's bring this down to earth. What does leading without a title actually look like on a random Tuesday afternoon? It's not about some huge dramatic gesture. It's about all the little intentional choices you make. At its core, it really just boils down to this one simple choice. In any given moment, are you going to take the easy way out, or are you going to take the path that actually adds value, helps the team, and moves the mission forward? That choice, when you make it over and over, is leadership.
Take this for example. We live in a culture that loves to point fingers. So just raising your hand and saying, hey, that was my mistake, and here's what I'm going to do to fix it, that is a powerful, profound act of leadership. It creates psychological safety and shows everyone what real accountability looks like.
Think about being in a super confusing meeting, or reading a messy email thread where no one knows what's going on. The person who steps in and says, hold on, just to make sure we're on the same page, are we all agreeing to X? That person is leading. They're creating order out of chaos for everybody.
You absolutely do not need to be a manager to help someone else on your team. Just sharing what you know with a new hire, offering some helpful feedback to a colleague, or just celebrating someone's win. That's quiet leadership, and it's the stuff that really builds an amazing culture.
So what's the long-term payoff here? When you start acting this way now, long before anyone asks you to, you start building what the source calls an unfair advantage. It's the compounding interest of showing up and adding value day after day. People notice patterns. When you're consistently the person who steps up, who contributes, who takes responsibility, you just organically become a center of gravity on your team. You become the person people turn to, not because of your job title, but because they know they can count on you. And this is the part you just have to trust. It won't happen tomorrow, but consistent, valuable behavior always gets noticed.
Eventually, the formal titles and the org chart just have to shift to reflect where the real influence already is. The system always catches up to reality.
So in the end, we have to stop looking at leadership as the next rung on the ladder we have to climb. We need to start seeing it as a part of our identity. It's not about being in charge. It's about taking charge of the things you can actually improve. It's about taking responsibility.
In a world that is changing faster than ever, where industries are being completely reinvented, waiting around for formal structure to tell you what to do is a losing game. The people who are going to build the future are the ones who are acting now, creating momentum without asking for permission.
So I'll leave you with this final, challenging question to think about for yourself. Look around at your work, your team, your community. Where do you see a gap, a problem, an opportunity? Where are you 100% capable of stepping up, but you're still just waiting to be asked? The next move is yours.